Well, hello everybody. I want to talk a little bit about everlasting impressions. Um, happened to be watching a short video this morning. It was actually a reel, I believe, on YouTube, and no talking going on in this video. It's just all like a hands-on demonstrational video. Some lady was canning some seasoned potatoes. She dumped them in a really nice big stainless kitchen sink, just big long rectangular sink. Some of you might have seen the video, I don't know. But anyhow, she had a little potato peeler deal, and she peeled off not all the skin off the potatoes, but a lot of it. And well, I think what she was doing is taking out the bad spots and blemishes of the skin of the potatoes. And then she proceeded to cut them up in like bite-sized chunks. And then she rinsed them off several times, soaked them in a sink full of water, probably to get some of the starch out. And then she mixed some like Italian seasoning. Well, I don't know if it looked like it might have been Italian seasoning or stuff that you would normally put in like spaghetti sauce if you're making your own spaghetti sauce, some salt and whatever. But anyhow, long story short, you could see a glimpse of a young child in the video. And I couldn't tell that she was on the counter or anything, but I think she's on a chair, possibly right up next to the sink. You seen her arm reaching in and grabbing a potato and kind of mimicking what her mom was doing, I guess, which is good. She was learning from the experience of watching her mom do what she was doing. Well, of course, somebody had to make a comment. And I don't know, something to the effect of the kid being on the counter, which, like I said, I didn't see no kid on the counter. But whether she was or not, that's her mom's business, you know. Whether she allows kids sitting on the counter or not. And I didn't see no harm in it. But anyhow, she made a comment about that, and then she made a comment, something to do with why didn't you take all the skin off the potatoes or whatever. Anyhow, I thought it was great that she was showing her daughter, I'm assuming it was her daughter, granddaughter, whatever it might have been, on how to process them potatoes. She was canning them and she was seasoning them in the canning process. And it's just a good learning experience for the girl. And that's something she'll probably always remember, especially if her mom or grandma, whichever it is, keeps continuing doing that year after year to where this girl's going to be old enough to be able to do the whole process herself. And that's what it's all about, teaching these young children. Last weekend, Wyatt come and spent the weekend. My grandson Wyatt, he spent the weekend, and I asked him if he would like to make some butter. And he says, "Yeah, I'll do that, Grandpa." So he did. I showed him how to make butter by pouring the cream in a jar and sloshing it back and forth and make butter. So he did Saturday, and then he did again Sunday. And I allowed him to take the butter home that he made on Sunday so he could show his mom and his stepdad. Well, he's so proud of that butter that he kept telling him he wanted to make some. Well, I got a phone call last night. And it's my son-in-law, Chris. He called and says he had to tell me that I could make butter with the stand mixer that they got me year before last, or that was 2 years ago, I think, for Christmas. They got me a stand mixer. And he told me I can make butter in that, which I knew that. I knew you can use a mixer, but I just like using a jar. And then he proceeded to tell me that Wyatt was so proud of his butter that he bugged him about making butter, so they went to the store and bought heavy whipping cream. And they put it in a jar, and then he showed him how to make it by sloshing it back and forth in a jar, and he made butter for him. Well, then they decided they was going to make some, and they put it in a mixer. And I'm assuming that Wyatt was the one that told him that they could make it in a mixer, that they didn't have to do it in a jar, because I told him my Aunt April uses her mixer to make it that she don't put it in a jar and shake it back and forth like Wyatt and I do, that she just used their electric mixer. So I'm assuming he probably told them that they could use the mixer, so they tried it. And then my son-in-law told me that he had it on low, and he said it made whipping cream. So then he turned it up higher, and then it turned into butter. And I said, yeah, if you can make whipping cream same way, you just got to go low, go slower, and it'll turn into whipping cream, but you go fast, and it turns into butter. So he discovered that. Well, then he ended up inviting his mother over and put some cream in a jar or whatever. I think he was actually whipping it in the mixer, and it turned into whipping cream, and then he put that in a jar and said, here, slosh it back and forth for a while. And so she did, and then it turned into butter. And she was amazed, so she was going to try that at home. She's going to go home and do that herself. So just by me showing Wyatt on how to make butter, he was so excited about it. And he went home and showed his mom and stepdad, and then my son-in-law showed his mother. And that's something that they'll all always remember. So don't be afraid to make that everlasting impression on someone, especially if it's a good one. Let's hope it is. I just wanted to put that out there. And don't ever condemn anybody like that one lady was doing on that video. And she was showing her daughter or granddaughter, whatever it was. I'm assuming it was a daughter. But anyway, showing her how to process those potatoes and can them. That's something that girl will probably never forget, especially if her mom does it year after year. So don't be afraid to share your knowledge with somebody. Like I said, you'll probably make an everlasting impression on them. I'm going to let y'all go. See y'all later. And don't forget I love you.